the short malfunction that just took place, guys. This is we're just getting our our head around this webinar. But guys, welcome. I'm so excited to get into this. I'm hoping that everyone can hear me and can see me. And I'm going to start the presentation just shortly. I'll start this as soon as people start to roll in. But until then, I'm just going to get rid of this. There we go. There we go. I'm excited. Guys, welcome. Welcome. We've got 51 participants. I'm sure you can all see my screen. I've shared it with you. It's 2:01. We do have 30 minutes. I'm going to be mindful of everybody's time. So I'm going to get started. But for those of you who have logged on and who are really prompt, congratulations. My name is Louisa Nicola. I'm the neuroscientist here at Fitlite. Welcome. I'm excited. For those of you who don't know too much about Fitlite training, don't worry, I'm going to go through absolutely everything. I'm going to also turn off my camera so we can really get into the nitty-gritty parts of this. It's going to be very content-based. So if you haven't got a pen and a paper, I think you should go and get some because we're going to be going through some amazing things. So as I stated, Louisa Nicola, I'm the neuroscientist at Fitlite. I graduated from Sydney University in medicine, and I actually went into clinical neuroscience and neurophysiology. So I became absolutely obsessed with the brain at a very young age, and I made it my sole mission in life to go through and learn everything that I need to learn about the brain. And I can honestly say that it's going to be a lifelong process because we still only know 10% of the brain, which makes it exciting. I started my company, Neuro Athletics, 5 years ago now. And basically, I wanted to live at the intersection of neuroscience and performance. And that's when I found Fitlite. And it's changed my entire life. It's changed the way that I train my athletes, and I'm sure it's going to change the way that you train your athletes. Now, as a bit of housekeeping, I'll just let you know that right at the end of the webinar, I'm going to be doing a Q&A, so feel free at 2:20 or 2:25 to just write in any questions that you may have, and I'll answer them all at the end. We will be recording this, and we will be sending this out to all of you at the end of this, probably tomorrow. So I'm going to go through and just turn off my camera, and then we will start to get into it. Oh, guys, we've got 76 people. Okay, so what is Fitlite? For those of you who don't know too much about us, we are a revolutionary training tool comprised of a series of LED lights controlled by the Fitlight app that measure time and accuracy through user interaction. So if you can see these guys, if you've ever heard of reaction training lights, we are it. And it is honestly, I can say with absolute honesty that this is the best type of training neurotechnology on the market. Our durability, our usability, the UX design of the app and the actual Fitlite system itself is compared to none other. We are the first on the market to be able to produce any type of light like this. And if you ask, well, what are the types of people that use this training system? We have absolutely everyone from healthcare workers. We have doctors using this. We have chiropractors. We have athletic trainers. We have personal trainers. We have athletes themselves. And I can tell you with utmost honesty that we've got people in the NBA, Major League Soccer, NFL, NHL using our system. So it's quite unique, but it's also extremely fascinating. The training that we use can be attributable to vision training, auditory function training, and other measures of cognitive performance. So I'm going to be discussing some of the pillars of cognitive performance. And I'm going to be doing this because we are so excited to announce to everybody that we are having our very first Fitlite training certification. So if you've ever wondered, well, how do I use these Fitlites? Well, I'm going to be leading the Fitlite training certification, which will be taking place in September. And this webinar is basically a sneak peek into some of the topics that we'll be discussing. So I want to talk to you guys about cognitive training. So sports performance at the highest level requires a wealth of cognitive functions. Cognitive functions includes things such as attention, decision-making, and working memory. These three things are, of course, without a doubt, incredibly important. But why is it that we're not training these at an elite level? That's the question I have been asking myself since I started my company in 2014. I thought, why are there athletes or why are there trainers who are just solely focusing on the physical attributes of training? We all know that one of the pillars of high performance and elite athletic training is, of course, neurological training. But how do we train it? Well, we can do it in a number of different ways. And one of those ways is by utilizing neurotechnology, such as the Fitlite training system. So let's just break down the brain for a second. And I want, this is really exciting for me because in the upcoming certification course in September, we're really going to be deconstructing what the brain is, the different areas of the brain. And we're going to be talking about where attention lies, where decision-making lies. How does the human brain make decisions? How do we react to decisions? And most importantly, how can we train certain areas of the brain to be able to overcome fatigue and build endurance? Because that's probably, in my opinion, the winning key to game day performance. So let's move on. Let's talk about the frontal lobe. Now, I wish I could turn my video on, guys, but the frontal lobe is the area of the brain which sits just in front of your forehead. So if you grab your palm and you place it on your forehead, that's about as big as your frontal lobe. And it sits at the front of the brain. And there's something really important in that, which you've probably all heard of. It's called the prefrontal cortex. So the prefrontal cortex is this area highlighted at the top in gray. And this is the area of the brain that is responsible for attention, decision-making, and planning. It's pretty much, they call it the CEO of the brain because this is the area that makes all the decisions. So can we train this area of the brain? We can. So in the following video, I have one of my athletes, okay? He's a world-class soccer player, and I train him to be able to use different areas of his brain and be able to react faster when the ball is coming. Before I show you this video, I just want you to be aware that we're using a number of different modalities in this video. So you're going to see different colored lights, okay, flashing. I gave him a protocol, and I said, I only want you to react to the purple light. So let's see how he goes. So you can see that there's green lights flashing, there's blue lights flashing, but I only want him to react to the purple light. Keeping in mind, guys, he's doing this under enormous fatigue. So what happens when we train under fatigue? Well, we get stronger. We get stronger at looking at the stimulus that's coming in front of us. So basically, I'm trying to mimic what happens at the end of a game when he goes into the second half of the game and he's mentally fatigued, he's physiologically fatigued. And when we're physiologically and mentally fatigued, sometimes we miss the ball. We don't see it coming. We don't see it coming from our peripheral vision. We get tired. So I'm trying to train this area of the brain the exact same way that I would train your biceps, or your quads. We want to be able to train our brain the exact same way so it can overcome this fatigue. Here's another video of me training a tennis player. We've got a number of different things happening here. So let's just have a look what we're doing. So the protocol was, I want you to bounce the ball from left to right, left to right. So he's reacting to the light, but he's also bouncing the ball. What do you think that does? Let's just watch this again. It's quite hard because what you're having to do there is you're having to take into place hand-eye coordination, but you're also having to react to the lights. Now, if you can see this photo here, one of the great things about the Fitlite is I set it to an entire light. So I want him to be reacting to the entire light. But if you know what the Fitlite system is, you'll know that you can have this on a number of different settings. You can have it just reacting on the center or in the entire light itself. So let's move on to a different area of the brain, the temporal lobe. We have two hemispheres of the brain, therefore each lobe is on either side. So we've got two temporal lobes. And this is where auditory processing takes place. Audition, meaning what we hear, acoustic, and also sensory information and some memory too. So when we talk about sensory information, I think that's one of the biggest things that we can look at when we're talking about the Fitlite system. When you think of sensory information, I'm talking about how your brain knows where you are in space and time. You think of a soccer player. I keep saying soccer player because I trained one this morning and they're in my head. A soccer player not only has to see where a ball is coming and also look out for his opponents, they have to sense. They have to sense without vision and without anything physical where a ball may be coming. And if anybody is a fan of Major League Soccer or they're a fan of European soccer, Cristiano Ronaldo, very controversial talking about him. Some people love him, some people don't. I love him because I really admire how he trains. And there's a number of different videos that have been released about him showing that the way that he's able to perceive a ball coming, even in his periphery with a blindfold on, is so incredible. And they say that that's what makes him the elite athlete that he is. And we can train that for our athletes. If you are an athlete, you can be training this. You can be training this aspect of your brain and this aspect of your nervous system to be able to pick up on and sense when a ball is coming towards you. So I'm going to show you this video. Now, I'm going to talk about attention because I think that attention is a skill that we're not training avidly. I think that we think, oh, attention and focus is something that'll just come with hours and hours of practice. However, the missing link there is we can be training an area specifically in our brain that's involved in attention. Now, if you see here, I've written attention permits us to focus on a subset of the incoming sensory information since we are not capable of processing all the input. So, for example, at every moment of time, sensory information about the temperature of our left foot is available for processing by the brain. However, unless we focus our attention to our left foot, we'll probably not evaluate this information unless something unexpected happens to our foot. So two different mechanisms of selective information, of selective attention are responsible for this phenomenon. Now I'm going to show you another example of a training program that I've done with one of our Fitlite ambassadors. So he's going very fast, but what we have up here is we have a number of different lights and he's performing fast feet. So I want him to be going high energy, very fast feet. Your brain actually gets more switched on when it's involving the anaerobic and aerobic training system. So we've got him doing fast feet. We've got somebody throwing a tennis ball at the wall behind him over here, and he's also reacting to the lights. So let's have a look at this. Oh, sorry, guys. Light, ball, hit light, ball. I think that's just so magnificent. And this is not he's very talented and he's been training here with the Fitlite training system for a number of years. But you can imagine how powerful a technique like this may be if you're training it day in and day out, especially if you are an athlete who's using a tennis ball or a baseball, for example, any type of ball sports. Let's watch this again. It requires so much attention and focus to be able to do so many different things that's happening right now. So I want to actually just stop this here and turn my video on just for a second, just so you guys can see me. So I can't see me, but I just wanted to point out that something really important to note is that there's so many different systems in your brain, but there's two particular pathways that we utilize, especially when it comes to sport and the output of sport and the input of sensory information. We've got motor pathways, okay? So we've got descending and ascending pathways in our brain. And the process kind of looks like this, okay? So if we see a stimulus with our eyes, obviously when a ball is coming to us, so we pick up on this information via evidently our eyes, and our eyes are just connected to our brain. What happens is at our prefrontal cortex, the very first slide that I showed you right here in the brain, prefrontal cortex picks up the information and basically says, oh, hey, there's a ball coming. We either have to move out of the way or we have to catch it. Okay. Now, what happens then is prefrontal cortex sends neurons. We have neurons, they're called nerve cells. Neurons are just neurons and cells in the brain and the nervous system. These neurons fire to a specific area of the brain. Okay. And it says, hey, we want to catch the ball. So it sends these fibers to our motor cortex. Okay. And that's basically right here. It sits like if you put headphones on, our motor cortex here, we've got a primary motor cortex and we've got a premotor cortex, and they basically synapse with the primary motor cortex, and that sends these very fast, like speed of light, even faster than that, these projections down our spinal cord. And it says from our brain, it says, catch the ball. Okay. Now that's the descending pathway. We're going to learn about this in the certificate, by the way. If anybody's really interested in understanding how do we perceive a ball, we're going to learn about this in the certificate. But basically it sends this projection down. It tells us when to catch a ball or when to swing a ball or when to move out of the way. Now we've got an ascending pathway, and that's with sensory information. So basically, if you know when you close your eyes and you can feel something around you, you can sense something, that's or when a ball comes or when somebody brushes up against your leg, that sends neurons in the different direction. It sends these neurons basically from the stimulus, either from your skin. These sensory neurons go up the spinal cord in an ascending pathway, and they synapse and they go straight to the prefrontal cortex, which is the decision making. It's our CEO of the brain, and that's what informs us, hey, get out of the way, or hey, the ball is coming. So that's an incredibly intricate, detailed analysis of what happens in our brain in the speed of just milliseconds. So you can only imagine, wow, how is it that Cristiano Ronaldo can pick up on the ball coming, intelligently scan to look for both his opponent to move out of the way, but also look for his team player to shoot the ball to him or to kick the ball to him at the speed of light? It's because he trains these patterns. He trains these areas of his brain. It's not by accident. Okay, he does this over and over again. At the age of 25, our brain is fully developed. So we need and he's older than 25. I'm not sure how old he is, but what I'm trying to say is we need to be training these areas of our brain or we're just not going to make it. So let's go back to the slideshow. What is it that makes the Fitlite training system so amazing? Well, one great tool that we have implemented in the last year is we now have an app, meaning once you get your Fitlite system, and if you've already got it, great, we now have an app. And I have personally done some pre-recorded routines under here where it says Neuro Athletics, pre-recorded routines. So when you get your Fitlite system, you can open up the app and you can actually input your own training protocols or just have a look at ours, which is already fully developed for you. We've got them in we've got basketball, cognitive training, we've got soccer, physical therapists use this. We've got training protocols for physical therapists. We've got everything you need in one app, which makes the usability of this so fast and unique. Here's a quick overview of what the app looks like in the back end of it. See, we can go here and we can go to, you can pick a specific drill, 3-color decision-making drill. You can pick the amount of hits that you get. So meaning that I want my athlete to hit the colors. You can set the distance. We can set the timeout, meaning how long do you want the lights to stay on for so you can have time to deactivate it. You can set the delay, meaning when do I want the next light to come on. So guys, that's it from me. Now I want to talk to you about the upcoming certification. So we've had a number of different people ask us, well, what is in the certificate? What will I learn? These are the things that we're going to learn. We're going to go over part one, which is brain basics. We really want to understand what are the different areas of the brain, what are the different lobes, what are their functions, and how can we train them? We're then going to talk about cognition. What is cognition? What is cognitive performance, and how is it applied to sport? We're going to learn about neuroplasticity, repetition. We're going to do some profiles of patients or athletes, if you will. We're really going to learn how to use the system and how can we put the system into play. So it's going to be very actionable. And then, of course, we're going to do an application and theory part of the course. Great thing about this is there will be a mini test, a 20 multiple choice test. The great thing about this is we are approved with NASM. We are approved with AFAA, that's the Athletic and Fitness Association of America. And we're also approved with Strength and Conditioning, the Association of Strength and Conditioning. So if you're a personal trainer or an athletic coach and you need to get your continuing education points, you can do that. You can do that with our Fitlite training certification. So what I'll do now is please feel free to ask me any questions, and I'm going to open up the Q&A. I'm going to just stop my video. I'm going to open up Q&A. Now I'm going to read you out some of the questions just in case you've all, just in case we missed them. Will the seminar be online? So that's Stefania. Hi. It won't. This is actually going to be an in-person webinar. And the reason being is that because it's more practical, we really want to take a hands-on approach. However, in saying that, if we do exceed the amount of people that we're having in person, we will do this online also. Next question from Beth. Have you ever used the system to help with rehab in TBI or stroke? Beth, that's such a great question. I'm so happy that you said that, because I actually started off in stroke and TBI rehabilitation. And yes, I have used it a number of different times. My father actually had a stroke 2 years ago and I've got him on a strict protocol. So yes, we've got a lot of neurologists working with the system in those areas. Oh, these are coming in fast. Next question. How do you know this transfers to the sport, to the field? Paul, this is such a great question. Everything I speak about when it comes to the Fitlite training system is backed by science and research. We actually have a bank of scientifically proven articles and research that we can that we put on our website. So if you want to go there or even send us an email, we can send you some information around that. Will the app take the place of the tablets? JP, yes. So if you do have a Fitlite system now and you have a tablet, we are actually going to be just using the app from now on, because this way our ambassadors and myself and all the people at Fitlite can be doing more to help you guys out, and we can do it in real time so we can upload as many workouts as we can. So yes. Mark says, are these pre-programmed setup training in the app specifics for sports? Yes, Mark. We have a number of different sports. We have basketball, we have soccer, we have cognitive training for all different sports. And I dare say over the next 6 months, we're working really hard with our ambassadors to do even more sports. We're doing hockey, we're going to be doing tennis, we're even going to be doing video games because I know that that's a huge aspect of cognitive performance as well. How did you pre-fatigue the soccer player prior to the light test? Mode, duration, intensity? Miguel, that's such an intense question, one that I can't answer right now, but please feel free to follow the Fitlite training on all of our social media, because I post a lot on there. If you want to follow me specifically as well, you can find my socials on there. Will the training incorporate neurological deficits such as stroke, TBI versus just athletes? Beth, that's another question from you. Yes, the answer is yes. Is there motorsport training available? Oh, Lindsay, our headquarters is actually in Florida, in Miami, and we know that Formula One is coming to Miami next year. So I definitely will be including motorsports in the training of the app. So definitely be sure to keep a lookout on that. Okay, so guys, so many questions regarding the Fitlite training system for drivers. So I'm just going to give everybody a broad overview. The system isn't sports specific, okay? And it's funny because people always say, can we train this with my sport? Guys, this is cognitive training. If you or your athlete has a brain, you can use this. Meaning this can be used in 1,000 different ways for 1,000 different sports. It's not just about the lights itself. It's not about the neurotechnology. It never is. The doctor doesn't have a stethoscope to just diagnose. The stethoscope doesn't diagnose the cause. However, it's how you use it. It's what are the training protocols that you use to implement these. And that's what you're going to get from the certification. We're not going to just teach you, oh, this is the light. Here's how you use it. We're going to teach you why. Why do you want to put these training protocols in place and teach you how to become your own cognitive performance coach? Are there contraindications for use? That's a very good question. So contraindications meaning that if somebody has epilepsy, can they use it? I know that this is contraindicated for epilepsy. Obviously, photic stimulation during myoclonic epilepsy. I'm not going to comment on that because that's a medical question, and you have to just pretty much consult the website or just send us an email, and we can get all of those over to you. Do you have a partner to set up a training regime for driving? Another driving question. How do I best use this for Taekwondo and Steve? Kim, if you are already a user of the Fitlite training system, please just send us an email and we'll get that over to you. Do you create a lot of exercises yourself because it can? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. Patty says, have you used the equipment to find the link between reaction time and concussion? Great. So I'm gathering a lot of people on here are using the system for neurological rehabilitation. And yes, to improve reaction time, especially for stroke patients, gosh, it's such a great tool because depending on where the stroke is and where the lesion occurred, you could say that the stroke happened in the right parietal lobe. Well, what's the right parietal lobe responsible for? And then you can train that aspect of the brain. It's so powerful. And we also know, which you'll learn in the certificate, that the left side of the brain is responsible for the right side of the body. The right side of the brain is responsible for the left side of the body. So we're going to learn how to really train this contralaterally. There is a question in German that I don't understand. So guys, so many questions here. I don't know if you want me to read them all out. Is the new Bluetooth light necessary going forward, or can I continue using my tablets? Scott, I believe that's a question for our CEO. Oh, I've got somebody answering that question for you now, Scott. What do you prefer, distance or impact in cognitive training? Alex, I prefer both because they both matter. Oh, great question regarding the certification. Is it live or virtual? For now, it's going to be live, but we will be hopefully offering a virtual aspect. Another question on drivers and executive function. How does this differ from read and react repetition drills? Jean, really great question. This takes into account what neurotechnology actually is. If you are a very busy individual, okay, you don't have time to be setting up different training programs utilizing hard materials and speed. If you are a busy individual and you want to be using state-of-the-art technology, this is why things such as the Fitlite training system exists. It exists to help people not only with the cognitive benefits of training the brain, but also helps with those people who just need to get their pre-programmed protocols already on there and be able to just push a button and just be able to go. Also, Another thing of the training system and the app, which you'll see, is what I do is I have all my athletes in a folder. So let's just say I'm going and I'm training athlete X. Let's call him John. And I train John once a week. I want to be able to say, John, last Tuesday you performed this drill. These were your reaction times. These were your delays. This is how many mistakes you made, and be able to keep going over with that, and being able to see all of his programs and being able to input that data into a spreadsheet for him. That's what makes a really good, intelligent trainer, using science to help training. What is the length of the course? Will it be held in person? How much will it cost? Great question. I'll let Shawnee answer that but it's a one-day training course. And guys, one of the really important things that I wanted to point out on here just before we close this is, if you want to register for the course, we are offering a 10% discount code. You have to use Neuro21, I believe, Shawnee, if that's right. And you'll get a discount code. But guys, don't worry about everything that I'm saying now, because we're going to be sending out an email to everybody who's come into this webinar. We're going to send you an email tomorrow, which will give you a breakdown of the course, including the cost, including if you need a Fitlite system or not to attend the class. But I will say that no matter who you are, no matter what you do for a living, everybody can benefit from this certification course, because I think that it should be mandatory for everybody who is a trainer to understand what the brain is and how it works. So I hope that helps with everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. My name is Louisa Nicola. Please feel free to send any information, any questions you have to info@fitlitetraining.com. You can also find me on social media. Just go to the Fitlite Instagram page and you'll find me there. And I really hope to see you all in September. I'm very excited. And guys, thank you so much